What is
all
this?
right,
Okay.
all right. Here we are, episode number 2 of the interview series. Welcome to the life of Scout Witherington. This time, my best buddy in the whole world.
That's me.
Brother from another mother, childhood friend. Hello.
What's up, my brother? This is exactly like the podcast. It's so great. Let's just do a podcast episode. What are we gonna do it on?
All right, let's just
Life.
talk about the Avengers now for the
let's
next
talk
hour.
about being parents.
Now we probably will today.
Yeah.
So I did one with my dad. This is the second one we're doing, and the whole idea is just interviewing family and friends and just having a little kind of video catalog of the people who are important to me. So
I love the idea so much, and I probably will steal it from you because now that we're both getting older, it's like you want to have something left behind for your kids. Now that you have a kid, you know what I mean about that. Like have something for your kids, because I mean, our generation has the photo book. The booklet of photos, and that's
my dad has like several big ass photo albums.
Yep.
We can curse because it's just you and me.
Great.
But in his bookcases, and it's like his trips to London when my sister was a baby, when he moved to Illinois.
I'm gonna crack open this beer. Let me make sure it gets right in the.
Yeah. Tell everybody, because
Yes.
so we did Happy Hour Power. For those who don't know, we did our own podcast series for a good bit where we would try a new drink every time. So what are we doing today, Scout?
Well, I figured right now we're in Memphis in my parents' shed, their smoke shed / storage shed, and I thought, we're in Memphis. Pat mentioned a local Memphis, so we're drinking an amber ale called Fireside.
By Memphis Made.
Memphis Made, and let's go ahead and give a little swig.
Oh yeah,
And I will say it tastes pretty good. It's a little darker than the beer I usually drink, which is fine, because I'll go darker or light depending on what mood I'm in. But I think it's good.
Awesome.
But yeah, like I was saying before, like they had the photo books. We've all seen that. And then, my dad had like the old, video camera that was like a news anchor's video camera.
My favorite story your dad told was when he took the giant homunculus camera and brought it into the delivery room as she's giving birth. He's like zooming in on her face, screaming.
It's like a literal RPG size. It's just like on his shoulder. Yeah, and I've seen all the birthing videos, and it's horrifying. But that's what they had back then.
Why he felt the need to catalog that on video, I'm unsure.
Well, there we are. And so this is like a piece of that. This is like the new version of that. This is our generation's version. My son one day, when he's older and cares more, as I get older, he'll be like, I wonder what my dad was all about, and you'll have a little piece of
It took me until I was in my mid-20s to start caring about like family and history and all that stuff on a personal level.
I don't think you do when you're a teenager, because you're just like trying to figure out life.
Right, you're trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through that together. That's why you're such a big influence on my life. Is because we met at like 15, 16, and from then on, the way we were interconnected is we influenced each other's like sense of humor, our work ethic, our spirituality and faith, our like, we've been through all the different women and stuff. Now we did disconnect for a little while, but then we came back together when I moved back here. Even before then a little bit.
Very correct. Very indubitably.
Yeah. Okay, well I guess we're done. That's it. That's the story.
That was really great.
No, I want you to walk me through it from your perspective, because obviously I have mine, but I have never sat down and you've never fully laid out, here's how it is from Scout's world.
What is it? How we met? Like our friendship? Our
just
journey,
like growing up from childhood to now. Hit the highlights.
Okay. Well, grew up in Memphis,
the
Tennessee, Bartlett, technically the area Bartlett, right down the street from my best friend. I never knew until I was about 15 that I lived like literally walking distance from my best friend in the whole world. But I grew up pretty rough house, of course. At the time, my parents were trying to figure it out, just like I'm trying to figure it out. So I think at first I blamed them a lot. But now being a father, I'm like, I see. I get it. It's pretty hard. But I grew up in I would consider a rough home. I was bullied really bad in school. And I didn't really have any friends. My very first friend was a guy named Chad Rajord. And he was a cool dude, but our friendship sort of fizzled. And so I was just kind of a loner. And then I remember me and you met, and this is so interesting. Anytime I talk to guys, like men, when they like talk about their best friend, it's usually like they fought or they like beat each other up or like they hated each other. And
there was some
ended
frenemy situation.
Yeah,
right?
and then they grow to be best friends. Like a lot of dudes end up with best friends like that. Oh, I beat the crap out of this dude in a wood shop, and then we went outside and realized we had a lot in common. We became friends. and it's similar to that on the bus, because I had such a troubled childhood. When people were nice to me, I'd push them away. And I did that a lot growing up. Like Chad Resort, our friendship fizzled because he was so nice, and I just kind of thought that was weird, so I like pushed him out of my life. And when we first met, you were super nice to me, and so I was like, oh, this guy's a fucking loser. I hate this guy simply because you were nice. I didn't know how to handle that. And so I pushed you away, started rumors about you, made fun of you, just all these terrible things. And I lost connection. Went to karate. We did karate.
USA karate.
USA karate, baby.
Go USA.
I made it all the way to black belt. You didn't though, did you?
I was one belt away, brown belt, 2nd degree.
And you had to stop.
And my dad was like, it's either this or wrestling. And, you know, I was like, I guess I'll do the real sport.
I guess I'll do the... I still remember some things from karate, but yeah, no, fair enough. I got black belt and then I quit immediately. I was like, I've done my job. I'm done.
Literally, getting black belt is just paying to get the crap knocked out of you for like an hour.
I'll never forget that test to get your black belt. It was simply all the instructors just beating the crap out of you for 35 minutes. All right,
I bet they're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. This 16-year-old kid's about to have his world rocked.
I'm getting paid 20 hours just to beat you, you 16-year-old loser. Yeah. So then you came to the adult class. I know you know the story. And you made a reference to the Simpsons movie. And I don't know why, but to me it was like the funniest thing in the world to me for some reason.
I've got a chainsaw. Because the Simpsons movie had just come out.
That's how freaking long ago it was, by the way. I couldn't even tell you what year that was. Maybe like 2006 or 7 or something crazy like that.
I don't even know anymore.
So that's where our friendship started. And I was like, dude, let's hang out. You know what's crazy? We hung out once before when I didn't like you. And you were so nice to me, dude.
Was that when we jumped on your trampoline and did like,
no,
we were Spartans?
We were friends. At that point, we were friends. But before I came over, we played Halo hilariously. And you were just like kind of showing me around here. Dude, there was a fuck ton of flies out here, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't worry, just become one with the flies.
Yeah, everything's fine. They're attracted to our musk. But I don't know. I just did not care for you. Just simply because you were a good person. I was like, I think
what happened is every time you were nice, you were bullied relentlessly by your older brother or family members for it. And so you're like, oh, this is how you treat people who are nice because this is all I've learned.
You push them away and then you bury your feelings really deep and then it comes out in an explosion. Yeah.
Anyone who's vulnerable is a complete loser. This is what I've learned.
So yeah, that's where our friendship started when we reconnected in karate, and then we waited outside for our parents to pick us up, and you had me on the floor laughing so hard.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then that's the rest is history, baby. And then I moved to Nashville in 2017.
Yep,
about 7 years ago.
for a while.
And now I'm
surrounded by drug dealers and university students.
I really did. I had, when you first move, you gotta live rough for a while.
Oh, I know.
A few pool tables and.
I remember my first apartment here, moving out of my parents' house. I was at Summer Trace Apartments, and I was cheap, but it was between. Anytime someone would say, "Hey, where do you live?" I'd be like, "I'm between the elementary school and the porn shop." Just right in between there.
Somewhere in between, you'll find
somebody was shot and murdered. There was police tape up. The first 3 months I was there, I was like, "This is how this is going to be, isn't it?"
I left Memphis.
Thank God I lived on the third floor.
I left Memphis to get away from the horrifying violence. Yeah.
I mean, there's like on the regular, we would be on our game chat, and you just hear like, I'm like, oh yeah. Anyway, so you guys gonna ready up? Come on.
We're playing Fortnite or what? That's about it. Yeah, that's how our friendship started, and now currently a father and a husband. Been married for 2 years, and that's life, baby.
So, tell me about the in-between years. Like, what would you do during the summer whenever I would go to summer camp for, like, ever?
Wait for you to get home?
No, really. What did you do? What were you into?
Wow, I put all my marbles in our friendship. So I genuinely didn't have a lot of other people to hang out with. So I would go to the mall, and just kind of walk around. Maybe find some girls that were cute and try to riz them up.
Even at that age, you were like, dude, I can do the smooth talking.
I mean,
did you have like a signature move of what you would do? Like you go into Hot Topic and be like, whoa, I love Gert too. This is crazy.
Yeah,
Did you have a move?
Act like you're interested in people. No, it's simply just conversation, man. I mean, back then in my day, no. You could talk to someone and it wasn't weird immediately. I feel like nowadays, like teenagers, when you strike up a conversation, they feel a little awkward because there's a little bit of social awkwardness in today's generation. It feels like that way.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever tried talking to teenagers?
You do a youth group, so
yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
tough.
hang out teenagers
when
every
you
week.
just casually start conversation, they always feel almost like appalled that you're even talking to them. They're like, why are you bothering me? But back then, you could just talk to someone and it was not weird. It'd be normal. So I would simply just talk to girls. But I did that. I go to the mall. I church. Very involved in church.
Oh, yeah. You guys got me into church for a while.
That's a really good question. I guess I would just... That's all I would do, really. And then
Did you always have... Okay, so I know faith is a huge part of your life. Very devoted Christian. You've given to the church in many ways. Helped plant the seeds for Victory Church in Nashville.
Yeah.
Doing all the musical stuff. Leading so many different music portions of sermons. It's ridiculous. People ask him to sing every time he comes down to
Genuinely,
Memphis.
I swear to God. I had to sing. I had to sing at a memorial today.
Did you know your whole life that you were like, dude, I can really do something with my voice and like the drums? Or did you slowly have like an aha moment as you got the drums in the house, started singing at church?
That's a really interesting story. I don't know if I ever even told you this before. Okay, so I've always sang around my house, and my family used to make fun of me because I sang so bad. And that's not even a joke. Legit, like my parents would be like, they would poke fun of me. They would mimic exactly how I was singing because I didn't have my voice yet. I didn't find it. So they would be like, "Oh my dude, just quit that." Like it was funny. It wasn't like purposefully mean.
Yeah, but this is how we love each other in America.
Yeah, this is Witheringtons, you know.
The Jeffreys are very similar in that way.
I'm wondering why I was so mean to you. I never had my voice, but I did always have a drawl to the drums. I remember I would listen to, back in my day, CDs. When I'd go to bed, I'd have the CD player, and I'd do A-B repeat on like certain songs. Rush YYZ. There's like a 7-minute drum solo. I'd fall asleep listening to that every night because it's like something in my spirit. This is before I even learned how to play drums. Like I just was drawn to the drums. Anytime I'd listen to anything, I'd hear the drums and I'd hear the harmonies, and I was able to sing the harmonies before I even knew what that was. I could pick it out and be like, oh, that's interesting, their voice does this, but it matches whatever, correlates. So it was just something in me that I didn't know was there. And I'll never forget, I went to youth camp by myself one year. It was the first time I went to youth camp, and I was singing, not caring, like during the worship session. And the next morning, one of the high schooler kids came up to me. He was like an older kid. I was still in middle school. And he said, "Scout, was that you behind me singing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And he said, you sound like an angel." And that was the first time anyone had ever complimented. And he proceeded to like compliment me for like 5 minutes. Like, "Dude, I can't believe you don't sing for the worship. You sing so good." And I had never heard anyone say I sang good. So after that, I started trying to sing, and I picked up drums not too much longer after that.
Yeah.
And then that's where it all started. And I learned piano. I taught myself piano. Taught myself
How did
guitar.
you get your first drum set? Because I remember that was a thing where like your neighbors would get so angry.
Yes.
You'd have to have a curfew for it. And then but I don't know how you actually got the drum set.
My dad was a drummer. And one day when I was a really small kid, like 8 or 9, when they were coming home from work, I had pulled my dad's snare drum and like his kick pedal. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just beating on it and doing like a simple beat. And my dad was like, okay. So he set up his old drum set from when he was, a drummer. And then he's like, "Look, if you'll practice with this, and if I see like legitimate growth, I'll buy you, your first drum set." And of course I loved it, so I played it, and then he bought me my first drum set after that. A cheap off-brand drum set, but it was awesome.
How old were you?
Like 14.
Okay.
Maybe even
sounds
younger.
about right.
Maybe even younger than that, like 14 or 15.
It's amazing.
Yeah, man.
And now,
I taught myself
14
piano.
years later.
I know.
15 years now.
Fuck.
You're still doing it.
You ever say how long ago something was and you're like, my heart, my brain.
Well, we're going to have some pretty prolific numbers by the end of everything,
That's true.
Let's get used to it.
That's true. I'm only 29, I'll be 30 in 2 months, but yeah, I taught myself piano after that, and everything came naturally. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It just
How are you
can't.
feeling about the big 3-0? I know that's like a landmark year for a lot of people. Kind of like the exiting of young adulthood and the entering into like family life. I'm not staying out till 2 a.m. at the bars every day anymore. It's like, I feel like that's the significant cutoff. Like, people will give you a little bit, especially your early 20s, they're like, okay, you're a complete moron, it's fine, just do dumb stuff,
your brain's not even fully
figure it
developed yet,
out. But by the time you hit mid-20s, if you're doing good, you're kind of starting to get it together, maybe have an idea of what you want to do for a career. And then by 30, it's like, okay, you got to be done. You got to hang the hat up. Come on.
Well, somebody told me, I've asked a few people, and they all say, 30s is the best. Because in your 20s, you're young, your body's strong, but you're just not all there mentally yet. You're still...
Yeah. I feel like it's still very self-minded. That was
You're
very
very self-minded. You're out partying. You're doing the dumb shit. You know how it is. And then but you're still young. You're still strong. In your 30s, your body's still strong, but you're wiser. So now you can still do the things you want to do as a young, strong-bodied person, but you've got wisdom. So that's the way I'm going into the 30s. Like, okay, I'm going to enjoy while my body's still in its prime. And I'm going to make use of that and be smart and be wise and be a good father, be a good husband.
Do you have any big goals, like a 10-year goal? Like, okay, in my 30s, this is one thing I really want to do.
I wouldn't mind trying butt chugging.
Dude, true story. I went to UT Knox, and in the newspaper, they published an article about butt chugging in this frat called Kappa Pike.
No, they did not.
And literally, the dean of the university was like, okay, yeah, we have to ban this frat now because you literally just wrote an article about how to butt chug, so we know that's what you've been doing.
It's a synopsis on butt chugging.
And so they got banned for the next semester. Nobody could join that frat.
Oh my god. See, those are the stories I live for. No, let's see, I want to go skydiving. I really want to go skydiving.
Yeah, you were saying
Yes.
like 30, maybe the 30s in general could be this, but your goal is to like face all your age-old fears.
That's true. I want to hold a snake because I'm horrified of snakes.
Oh, so scared of snakes.
Deeply.
I used to love messing with you, pretending there were snakes.
you. I want to do that.
From the time we would go out the sewer drains and walk by that church down behind my house, I'd be like, oh, what's that?
Is that a snake? Oh, God. When we were in Mississippi, you threw a dead snake on me, and I got really upset at you.
That's the only time you got mad.
I was like, oh, my God. No, don't do that. Yeah. Snakes are freaky. I want to skydive really bad. I want to ride a horse. You know, I'm afraid of horses because they're horrifying and big and scary.
They are kind of weird. Have you ever fed a horse?
No. I've never done anything
I have fed a horse, and every time it's kind of a scary situation because their chompers are like just gigantic, and you're like, dude, you could easily just
rip my fingers off, without skipping a beat.
So you have to, and even when people tell you, they're like, all right, feed him this apple, but make sure you put your hand flat or you'll die.
You'll lose every finger
okay,
you're
all right.
love.
So you're like straining your knuckles. You're like, no.
Yeah, horses are kind of freaky, man. They're big, so I wouldn't mind. I want to try to ride a horse. And just, like, anything that I'm feeling like I want to do this, I want to, face a fear, or not even just a fear, but, like, do something just crazy.
Right.
Because you know me, like, I love rattling my own cage. I love doing crazy stuff.
You do love rattling.
Now's the time to, like, do it to the highest degree.
Yeah, that lines up with what you said. It's like your body's still feeling great.
Exactly. Because I'm not going to want to do that when I'm 40. Your life's pretty much over by then. I was kidding.
Now, when I hit 40, then I'll off myself.
It's over,
until then,
I have a 22-year-old I work with, and he always is poking fun at me because I'm older. To him, I'm ancient. But as a 30-year-old, I don't think 30 is that old at all. And he's always like, oh, it's all downhill from here. And I always tell him, I say...
Good old Memphis.
Good old Memphis ghetto, yeah. Downhill is the best part of the bike ride. Or the roller coaster.
True.
So I could just take my hands off the handlebar and be like, woo! Whatever happens, happens, baby!
It's crazy to me, man, because I'm done with school and stuff. And that was a big part of my teenage years and going into 20s. Like, it was
7 years?
Because, I did all the advanced stuff, so, like, it was super competitive, and there's always someone better than you. And it's, like, becomes a huge part of your mindset every day of, like, trying to work on this academic stuff. And now I'm done with all that, so I'm like...
Did you do 7 years altogether?
In college?
Or was it more?
Yeah, it was about 7 years.
That was a long freaking time, bro.
Mm.
I can't.
So now there's some comfort knowing, like, hey, I got the goods. If ever this doesn't work out, I got the paperwork to say I'm qualified to do something in this world.
Degrees for days, baby. Masters, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking intense.
It is.
I don't have a master's in anything.
I think you have a master's in music.
No.
Through experience.
There's always better.
That's the thing. You always
true.
feel like you're an imposter because there's someone better, right?
I think when you're really good at something, you'll feel that. The ones who feel like they're good enough, it's pride. I've met people who like are like convinced that they're the best communicators, and when you listen to them preach, you're like, "What the hell are we talking about?" Like what? Like, this guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but the guy a good friend of mine is like a pastor. And he's always talking about how like, "Oh man, this sermon, I know this sermon, the best sermon I've ever wrote," and he's always like, he's never humble. He's very like arrogant. And we heard him preach recently, and me and my wife both the whole time were like, I have no idea what we're talking about. I don't know what the sermon's about. I don't know what's going on at all. so I think when you're truly talented and good at something, you will always feel inadequate to a certain degree, and I think that's sort of required.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of humility. Not obviously not taking it too far and thinking I'm not good enough. Like or taking it too far where you start like thinking you're not good enough as a person, but understanding that there's someone better than you. I think that's okay. That's normal.
I think
that's
you're right.
humble. That's humility.
Yeah, that's when you really start to assess who you are, and I think in the 30s, that's where you have a chance to be that name to other people.
Agreed.
Like you said, up and comers. So you are big into speaking now, right?
Yeah, it's my passion right now, man. I love it so much.
Yeah, you've given like many, at this point, quite a few like wedding speeches, holiday speeches for the family and stuff, and they're fun. So I was curious, it's kind of music adjacent, but when did you first think like, I really kind of want to get into this public speaking. I think this could be for me. Because this is crazy, right? The transformation from the teenager into the adult.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I've always been very outgoing. Very extreme extrovert. I talk to anybody. I don't care who you are. I make friends with anybody. It was when I went to college. I went to college specifically for the music side of things, but as a part of our curriculum, there was an aspect where you had to preach. And so I would put together sermons, and when I would do it, I realized like, oh, I actually like have a gift in this, being able to public speak. And so I decided to do the courses that there was like, it was like worship and then it was preaching.
Okay.
And there was like, the school was split up into those two, like whichever you were.
Did you go the preaching route?
I did both for both years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I realized my heart was I wanted to do both. I very much love music, very talented towards it, but I also found that I had giftings in speaking. So I sharpened those 2 years of school, which I'm so thankful for. I love those 2 years of school. I've always looked fondly on those. And it helped me sharpen my style. Because everybody has their own style. Yeah. Some people are very logical. Some people are like storytellers. There's some people who use humor. And some people a mixture of those things. There's all kinds of communicators. For me, like my thing is storytelling and humor are the best ways to get someone focused in on a point that you're trying to make. If you bring out the logistics, and you should, but you leave it at just that, some people get lost. They're like, okay, I don't understand what we're talking about. Like, I understand the facts, but when you bring it to a story to make it personal or relatable, it's like immediately you're drawn in. Oh, I can relate to that. Oh, this person's telling me something personal about their life. And,
you know what?
Humor, because like you could be talking about something really serious, and it could be hard to digest because you're like, ooh, this is kind of heavy. You throw in a little joke in there, it's like sugar with the medicine. It's like and then the point can get across so much easier.
A little bit of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Exactly.
Well, so I've listened to several of your sermons, and one thing that always stuck with me about them is that when you tell a story, you get raw with it. You go into something deep. You go into suicide. You go into overdosing. You go into things that are like very real that very few people are willing to say. So I feel like that's where you're saying you're telling some kind of truth in those stories.
I've always here's what I believe. When
word.
People talk about like preaching, some students like, oh, give me some pointers on preaching, because I'm a youth leader / pastor at the church I'm at now, and I'm leading our youth preaching every other Wednesday. And sometimes they'll ask me like, oh, what are some tips you give someone who's wanting to be a pastor or wanting to get into public speaking? I always tell them, if you're trying to sell someone something, you have to believe in the product yourself. For me, the reason I choose to gear my public speaking towards God more is because I genuinely believe in God. and I believe in Jesus, and I believe in Christianity. That's my personal religion. And I believe in the product. I believe in it. I believe in that. I'm not saying God's a product, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I believe in it. And so, because I believe in it, where I speak from is raw, it's real, and I'm able to be vulnerable because I genuinely believe that it's legitimate and that people can receive benefit from it. So, it doesn't bother me to speak about my past very vulnerably, or to be transparent about, like, my drug abuse or my, you know, the loss of my brother from suicide, because it, man, when you're vulnerable, you never know who's in the crowd or who's in the room that needed to hear that. And if you try to sugarcoat things, sometimes you can't get the point across. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta believe in what you're presenting.
When you hit someone in the heart with the emotions, I think it bypasses a lot of the logical, walls that we put up.
Agreed. I fully agree. I mean, I've been to churches where the pastor, you can tell he's preaching because he's getting a paycheck. And then I've been to the ones where they're a tiny itty bitty church, but they believe what they're saying, and those ones always impact you more because it's like if a salesman came to your door and was like trying to offer you a vacuum, but they've never used the product themselves, they don't know anything about it, but they're trying to sell it to you. You're like, I'm not buying this. You don't even know how to turn it on. It's still in the package. But if you got a salesman who's used this thing, they know it, they're using it adequately, they show you how all the features, like, you're way more likely to buy into what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So you got to believe in whatever it is you're choosing to communicate about. You have to believe in it. I refuse to ever speak on something I don't believe in, or like have a passion for, or whatever. You know.
I love that.
So horrors.
What do you think about Fireside?
It's really good. I finished mine. It's gone. It's all. I drink a little fast.
Did you want to get another one? You want to take a break for a sec?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
We'll finish this up.
Well, let's talk a little bit about struggles in terms of...
It's a good transition.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pain.
You talked about the highlights. Now I want to hear the lowlights, because when I first met you long ago, we had our problems, but I know one of your big one was just like having so much energy and not knowing what to do with it, and dealing with tough family life and overcoming that. And I know that you've reached out to therapists as you've gotten older. You've integrated yourself as a father and kind of made commitments to things you want to do better from your family life. So growing up, what's that transition like? What are you struggling with? What
I struggle with today?
No, like in the past. What kind of things have you overcome?
I see. Yeah. Well, wow. There's a lot. There's a list. Let's see.
Because I'm thinking while you're in college, you're learning all these amazing things. You got to be battling some demons too.
My family's always been crazy, and you know that.
Yeah. My
family has always been crazy. You know, my dad, my mom, both crazy. My brother, super crazy. Me and my sister, fairly crazy. It always felt like me and my sister were like trying to survive the craziness because we were fairly normal, just sort of victims of all the craziness. It always felt like that. Anyway, I remember when we were really young. This is before I even knew you. We were going to a church in maybe Millington or something, I can't remember where, but our family was just so whack and so crazy, and so Max, my brother, had done so many things that were just so horrible that they were like, they kicked us out, essentially. They're like, yeah, you can't come back here anymore. You guys are too destructive.
I remember that.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like crashed into a pole at their property.
So much more than that, but yeah, that was the last straw. They're like, okay, yeah, you cannot come back here anymore. On the property. He just zoomed out of there, yeah. So, I mean, gosh, a crazy family. You know, I've struggled with my own demons, with drug addiction, like you mentioned a second ago. I remember my first hit of weed was when I was like 13. I lost my virginity when I was 14, and had sex pretty consistently with anyone I could. I was a super whore for like a long time, all the way up to like, you know, my 20s. And, you know, maybe alcoholism. I can't say I've ever struggled with alcoholism, because I drink very casually. I don't like get hammered all the time. Every now and then I'll maybe drink a little bit more if it's an occasion. So I can't say that one's ever had me, but drug addiction for sure. Lust, of course. You know, every man's battle with porn. Gosh, crazy family. All that together was a recipe for disaster. When I moved, you know, I struggle. Oh, here's what I never talked about. So when I went to school, I learned
You're
that
in Memphis,
I had...
right?
Yes. When I went to college, and I was perfecting my musical and speaking gifts or whatever, the double-edged sword of going to school and going specifically pastoral college is that sometimes you can get a big head, especially if you're truly gifted at something. And so I hate to admit it, but I had a lot of arrogance. And when I became a youth pastor and a worship pastor over this other church in Bartlett before I moved to Nashville, I had a big head. And I thought I was all that, and I thought I was, because everyone was always like, oh my God, you're so good at singing, you're this and that. And I didn't know how to take that at the time, so I ate it all up, and I was like, yeah, I'm the best, I'm so good. And when I moved, boy, the Lord humbled me. Try moving to the music capital of the world, thinking that you sing good, and everyone's
Nashville.
like, literally everyone can sing good. The homeless guy on the corner sings better than you. You're like, okay, I am terrible.
You're like, okay, Andy's making more money than me.
Yeah,
this is just insulting.
This is hanging out with Patrick.
That guy was insane. Best dollar I ever spent was on that man.
We went
in
to
Nashville,
Nashville, and that guy, he had the loops on his guitar and he rapped right there. See, that's what I'm talking about. I went to Nashville thinking I was all that, and then I was humbled so quickly. I was engaged when I moved to Nashville to another woman, and things just didn't work out. And through the pain of that, I went back to drugs. But I didn't just smoke weed. I went to coke. I went to LSD specifically. Was my big drug choice.
Yeah.
And I got really far into addiction and fell away from church. Fell away from my faith. Really.
So you had stopped going to church and being a leader?
I did. I gave up all the stuff. I literally moved to Nashville to help plant a church. I abandoned it all and just went full into that world. And it didn't last long. I OD'd in December of 2019, and I got rushed to the ER in an ambulance, and that's where it all came back full circle. I decided to, get my life together and go back to church and all this stuff. And gosh, that was 4 years ago. I've been sober for 4 years. With drugs, specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still drink every now and then.
Hey, this December, it'll be 5 years. 5 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Half a decade.
It's freaking crazy, man.
Away from that life.
Whoa. It's pretty crazy. Me and you disconnected. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, for a little while we did.
To give context, I couldn't think of the word. I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I just feel like this is so funny. Because you're sitting in an old grandma chair that's been ripped up by cats for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in this raggedy old wheelchair.
In the middle of a shed.
In the shed with flies.
This is how you know we haven't quite made it to the good life yet,
We'll get there.
It's like, look, we have our stuff together enough to actually make one of these.
Demolishing your face.
Are swarming me. I feel like an elephant at a zoo right now. I need the big tusks or something.
The other thing about the other dark side / the other end of the sword of religion, without the good side of religion, there's always a bad side to everything,
Yeah. True.
The church I was at was very strong on, watch your friends, make sure bad company corrupts good character. That's what they'd always say. Bad company corrupts good character.
Bad company corrupts good character. Instead of what Jesus would do, hanging with the corrupt ones to show them the way.
Yes, and I was convinced that that was the key. Dude, you should light up.
I will.
I was. It just over the years of hammering that into you, you start to question I'm going to school here. I put my whole life in this belief system, and everyone seems to be thinking that hey man, if you hang around, you can lead people to God, but they shouldn't be your close friends. Which is completely backwards, by the way. I get that now, but at the time I was convinced, because these were my leaders. I went to school with these people. They were constantly this, you gotta do this. And so I felt...
Were they a bit older than you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were my age now, but I was not even 20 yet.
Right.
So I was convinced, man, that okay, maybe Pat, if he's not saved, is not a good match for me. Maybe I should only hang out with saved people. And I gotta tell you this, truthfully, I know I've already apologized this for so many times over the years, but that was the worst and loneliest few years of my life without talking to you. I very, very vividly remember those years.
While you were at the church doing the youth pastor?
Well, yeah, all of it without you. It sucked. It was terrible. Because, like, you were my only good, close best friend that I considered, like, a brother and a best friend. And because of just being manipulated or brainwashed or whatever you're going to call it, I thought I was doing something good. And later on realized, like...
And also you're being isolated by the woman you were with at the time, too. She tried to isolate you from everyone. Your own
Even
family.
My own family. Yeah, no, that is very true.
It was a bad combo, dude.
It was a bad combo.
We've been through those years. I went through those years.
When we broke up, the first person I called was you. I'll never forget where I was. I don't know if you remember this. I was at Annie Ann's working. We had broke up. And the next day, I called you. I said, dude, I just want to let you know I'm sorry for everything. And I don't know what you're doing, but let's reconnect. And you were just like, dude, we're good. We'll talk about it, but we're good. Let's reconnect. Like nothing happened. And you know, I want to say this. I'm not trying to get emotional when I say this, but I know a lot of Christians who are not even near as forgiving as you are as a person.
All right, I'm too high for this, man.
Our whole faith...
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
No, our whole faith system as Christians is rooted in forgiveness and love.
Absolutely. Right. That's my favorite part about Jesus.
I don't know if you're necessarily identify as Christian or what you identify as, but I know you haven't always. If you even are, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, you've always shown that with your life more than people who claim to like be really deep followers of Jesus. And that's something I respect and pull away from our friendship a lot, is that through all my dumb shit, walking away, doing dumb stuff, whatever, this and that, you've always been like, hey, you know what, you're human, we're still bros, and that's that. So
that's how you got to be.
That's how you...
That's life to live.
Exactly. You have to be that way. You only get one chance, one opportunity.
Yeah, do not miss your chance to blow. Mom's spaghetti.
Don't get... Yeah, man. Anyway, enough of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about future you. Like, what does the future Scout look like, and what do you want to make sure he doesn't forget?
Satan's having a fucking panic attack right there.
Satan is struggling with me. I tried to get him to get out of here, but it's cooler in here than out there.
He's dying out there, clearly.
Okay, so if you were to say, hey, listen, don't forget where you came from. This is important. What are you going to say right now?
God.
As a new father.
Dude.
Well, not really a new father anymore. He's like a toddler now.
Year old.
Year and a half.
Year and 3 months, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I would say, let me get my philosophy hat on for a second.
Yeah, put that hat on.
Let me put the
Looks good on
philosophy
you.
hat on.
It's like a ranger survival hat. That's what I picture.
It's a trucker hat for some reason. A net hat. You don't even like it, but it's there, and it's
got the Canadian flag on it. You're like, I don't know.
I don't know where we are right now, but
we're in philosophy land. What's the philosophy?
Let's talk philosophy for a second. No, I don't know if it's necessarily philosophy, but I will say, being around death as much as I have the last few years, I have more of a, I would say, the chapter can end at any moment, or the book can close at any moment in my life. What I do from here on matters more than anything else. And for me, the main thing is I really want to love people. I love people so much, and I want to love people effectively. Not just sharing what I believe, but honestly just treating human beings right. Levi, my son, is going to grow up, and he's going to see what kind of father I am. And the kind of father I want to be, number one, is someone who just loves people constantly, consistently. The way you've said as an example for me. Loving people. Sorry. I look over and your eyes are so...
I'm stoned as fuck. I'm listening though. I'm listening very intently. I'm just like absorbing every word.
I want him to grow up seeing a father that genuinely loves people. Like, regardless of their background, their race, their belief system, any of that, I want him to know, like that's what we do.
So you don't want to teach hate whatever you do?
No, dude. I don't care. None of it. Because, like, dude, you can be gone at any moment. I went to a funeral today. This lady, luckily, she lived to be 79, but she died of a brain tumor. It came and it wiped her out, like, within a few weeks. And it's always a good reminder to, like, dude, at any moment, this could be over. And do I want to die and go to the pearly gates and realize I was a piece of shit human to people because I just had a bad day? I don't want that. So, like, I think my main thing is always remembering we're all in this together. Everyone's got their own stuff that they're dealing with. And the cure to everything, the answer to everything is just love people, bro. Love them regardless. And everything else will fall in place with that. And the other thing is, remember that you're being watched. Now with a son, with my wife, as a leader in the church, people look up to you, people look up to me, especially you with your job. I mean, you got people looking at you and counting on you. Remembering that there are people counting on you.
Right.
And true integrity and true, morality, but more so integrity, isn't just doing right when people are looking, but man, how are you living behind closed doors? Because that leaks out into who you are in public, I believe. So just, man, when I'm by myself and I'm thinking about doing something stupid or having bad thoughts, just remember, hey, there's people counting on you. And let's let that motivate us to live right and take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Never neglect your mental health, emotional health.
Right. When you have the impulse to do something stupid, go for a walk instead. Go for a run.
Yeah, before smoking that huge line of cocaine, let's go on a walk instead.
Before trying crocodile, the Russian drug that makes your arm fall off, you should probably just take some deep breaths.
Before snorting Flocka, before you rip someone's face off and eat it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, take care of yourself, love people, and remember that people are looking up to you. Those are the 3 things I want to take away no matter where I go. I think those are 3 core values of mine.
I think that's great. That's good. And that's something that I kind of need to hear right now. I've been going through a moment where a lot of people have been pushing me hard in my work life. And for a while, I kind of took it personally and was like, wow, I must be terrible. I must not be ready for this stuff. But the truth of it is the best way to get through it is to turn back to love and stop getting so caught up in the game of the day-to-day of trying to get even or trying to get whatever is so important in the moment.
I heard a statistic that they said 80% of all businesses that go into a new business strictly for the desire to make more money are opt to go out of business. 80%.
I believe it. Look at all the closures, not all of them, but many of them, if you look back at links to that, they were only in it for the money to get bigger. They didn't actually need to do this or want to do this. Their
they just wanted the
didn't
money.
align.
They wanted the money. But they said in the same realm, I think maybe 80, maybe a little less, but around 80% who go in to meet needs for other people, their business usually soars and is more successful. That's just statistical facts. When you live life focused on other people, success follows you because you just care about other people's needs, So.
Yeah, that's true.
Real talk.
Real talk.
No nuts, no glory.
Oh, what about you and Sonny? You guys' relationship has changed over the years, but I feel like that's something that we don't really talk about out loud too often. It's just kind of a known, y'all have each other's back. She moved up to Nashville with her family. You kind of kept each other sane during the childhood years.
Yeah, truly.
You went to ministry school together, didn't you?
We did. She did. My second year was her first year, yeah.
A lot of your lives together.
I would say our relationship has changed in the sense that we're both older and we both have kids. We're both have different, way more responsibility, but it's always the same. As soon as we're together, it's as though we've never been apart. Just like me and you. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's the brother-sister bond. It's don't even have to say it. It's an unspoken thing. I don't know. Our relationship hasn't really changed to me.
Do you ever worry about Sonny?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, she's my sister. I think that's normal. Worry about her as in the sense of, I hope she's still okay. Because right now, she's great. Her life is great. I mean, she's happily married, 3 beautiful children, a home, good income coming in. They're good, financially afloat.
They're doing good. They're in a good season.
Yeah.
That is
you
a
always
phrase
know
that you've started using that I adopted because it speaks to me.
See, life's all seasons, man. And when that horrible fall, everything's dying season comes, you gotta hold your nuts.
First half of this year felt like it was going to be like that. I was a little scared.
Yeah, that's true. The beginning of this year was a little bit like that for me. I think it was for both of us, really. Right. But now the back end of this year has been great. Yeah, I worry about Sunny, of course. She's my sister. I love her very much. But she's doing good. So
yeah, you're confident, she's got this.
And now that she's got Daniel in her life, I worry a lot less, which is great because I know she's protected, she's safe, and all that. So
Oh, you used to worry more about her when it was just her and the kids.
Yeah, and her and even Rob. I mean, of course, that relationship was a little bit unhealthy towards the end there, just because he kind of lost himself. So I was always worried, but not so much anymore.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Absolutely. All I can think about is all the dead silences in your last interview with your dad.
Oh, bless
Bill
his heart,
is the best
man.
way. I love talking to Bill, but yeah, he's not.
yeah. Do you
He's
consider?
like, so what do you think about God? He's cool. All right,
I
moving
believe
on.
in that. I swear, my father is a man of few words.
But they're usually factual and profound.
Yeah, I think it's profound because you're like, wow, that's so accurate. I guess I can't even deny that.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The retired, seasoned veteran wisdom.
Yeah.
The chemist major wisdom, Mr. White.
All right, if you had to pick the age that you pass away, what age are you picking?
69.
Really?
Yeah, it's my favorite number. I used to want to die young, but I like 70s, 80s. You know, good long life. Not too long, but pretty good life. Yeah.
It's cool. What's one thing you want to do?
One thing I want to do? Right now?
Yeah.
Skydiving. We got a butcher near our house. I want to get a tomahawk steak.
I'm
totally serious. It's so big, but I want that.
Steak has been your passion for a while.
Yes.
I bet you in your 30s you get like super into grilling and you just like buy the books and like you get one of those wood pellet grills like, dude, Pat, you got to eat this steak.
Dude,
this is insane.
You need apple.
This is 6 pounds
Nordic
of beef.
Cherry. Those are two things that I'm really looking forward to as well. Yeah. And I want to like try making new drinks.
Oh, yeah, because you got into that for a little while with
and
the
now
bartending
that I made the
stuff.
Negronis recently, I was like, I gotta start trying new stuff.
Yes, I would be so for that.
I'm doing that, for sure. And I want to finish this sleeve.
We should do like some kind of goal, like trying all the recipes in some type of drink book.
Yeah. Got that Batman book, but some of those things are hard to come by. The recipes, the ingredients. It's all alchemy. But yeah.
Alchemy.
I want to,
oh
God. I want to finish this sleeve. Those are meat, liquor,
sleeves.
Deep Baldur's Gate 3. I want to do a lot. A skydive. I have a lot. I have a lot to do. And that's what makes me look so forward to life is I have so much left to do.
Yeah, man.
I have not reached the end. I'm not even near the end, so.
That's good. I feel the same way. I feel like we got a lot left in us, and we're just not even hitting our peak yet.
No way, dude.
No way, Jose.
Are these rapid fire questions now?
You want to do the rapid fire section?
Yeah, unless you're not done.
No, we're
philosophical
good.
For a bit?
I think...
what is life?
Does A equal MC squared? Does it really? I don't know. Is it just letters?
I think it's E, but, whatever. It's fine.
I don't know. I heard about it on the radio.
I heard about it on Google. Google's right, usually right.
Man, you want to talk about technology? Hey, if you could be a cyborg, would you become a cyborg?
I would give up
get your
parts
eyes
of my
replaced?
body. Yeah, I'd give up parts of my body for the cybernetic world. Like my eyes, sure. Maybe one arm, like Winter Soldier. I don't think I'd give like the primary, like my brain, of course. I would never give my heart away, my lungs, but like my leg, maybe. My fingers would be kind of cool.
Would you do both legs if they said you could run like a gazelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I need to see a few other people do it, though, to make sure it's legit.
You have to be like, this has to be like a 95%.
Yeah, am I the first one doing it? Because, no, that sounds terrible. Yeah, technology's wild. Yeah. The world of technology is wild. Here we go.
20 years from now,
Down
what do you think is
hole.
going to be like the up-and-coming thing? Like, now it's internet, right? We're in the internet age. And we're kind of getting into, like, electric cars and AI being able to just talk to your phone,
20 years?
talk to your house.
God, yeah, the AI thing is getting pretty out of hand, I would say. Maybe not out of hand, but it's getting there. It's getting kind of scaly. Brainstem, to where, like, you can, like, I think that there will be, like, implants on your brain where you can, like, go into the world more as yourself, like, with video games, with technology, like, something like that. Like, isn't there a first person that, like, had something implanted in his brain?
Yeah, the Neuralink.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Neuralink.
actually the second person got it now. And they're, like, fully paralyzed from the neck down, but they can control their characters in video games. They can play Civilization or Call of Duty.
See?
And they can,
That's fucking
type
crazy.
up essays or whatever.
That's so,
just with their mind.
It's so bizarre. So I think it's going to be more of an advancement in that. I think, of course, AI is going to get really crazy. I fear that if there's even civilization left in 20 years, AI will be super advanced. It might even be to the level where it's kind of scary.
If there's civilization left.
Joe Rogan did an interview with Elon Musk and asked him that question, and he said, well, assuming there's civilization left, and he said the way we're going right now, it's unlikely that there probably will be civilization in the next 40, 50 years. Elon freaking Musk said that. So that, that's...
So you
something.
think that, okay, there's a big collapse coming?
I think, God, with the elections,
within our lifetime,
with AI, with everything, it's always easy to say, oh, it feels like it's coming to an end with the rumors of war and brink of war and all the stuff with Israel and Russia and it's everything. It feels like things are coming to a head for the world. And with AI and technology getting as crazy as it is, I don't know, man. Maybe the world's ready for a factory reset.
Do you think there's going to be a World War III within our lifetime?
Ooh, probably. We're still young. Assuming we live long, probably. I mean, or at least the starting of one.
Like,
hell,
our sons may have to serve?
I hope not, but maybe. It's possible. Totally within the realm of possibility.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but I just was curious.
Yeah, it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility in my mind. Like, if it happened, I don't think it would shock me.
Yeah, if they were like, okay, we're starting the draft up, all men between 18 and 26. We're doing this. We're going to war with Russia.
Absolutely.
We're going to go to Taiwan to defend them from China.
We're going to go to Mars.
We're going to go to Mars to defend it from aliens. The aliens have been real this whole time.
That's where we are.
Didn't tell you.
Just in 20 years. It would not surprise me, man. Yeah, no, things are crazy as hell right now.
Did you hear about the alien stuff?
I know that it's public knowledge now.
Yeah, it's unidentified aerial vehicles.
Yeah,
or whatever, UAVs.
It's out there, and I know that.
I'm sorry, we're slowly devolving into a JRE podcast, but I had to ask.
You're going to do some rapid fire? Well, hold on, let's talk about aliens and technology.
All right, now we're going to let a huge blunt. No. All right, what is your favorite band of the 60s or 70s?
Led Zeppelin.
Not Pink Floyd?
Oh, man. Yes, it's still Led Zeppelin.
Is Pink Floyd overrated or underrated?
Probably underrated nowadays.
I think so.
I think it's,
What's one piece of advice you would give to your grandchildren?
Love people. The same thing I said earlier. Love people.
What's better, a big city or a little country town?
Little country town. I'm a mountains and cabin and mountains kind of guy. That's me.
If not the United States, where would you live?
UK. Probably the UK.
What happens?
Or Canada.
Canada.
I would love Canada. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. What happens when we die?
I think you go to there is eternal life, and depending on how you chose to live your life determines how you spend that eternal life.
What's your biggest secret?
Secretly, I took such a big shit yesterday that I bled a little bit, and now my ass has hurt all day. And I've had really bad poops all day today, so every time I shit, it's worse. It hurts worse. So there you go.
Here's Scout proving that some secrets should stay secret. When you get out of the shower, do you dry yourself before or after you get out of the tub?
Before, and then after. Both. I dry off my legs and everything, and I re-dry.
What's your spirit animal and why?
I don't want to go down the route of a giraffe because that's too on the nose. Fuck. Probably a horse. I'm afraid
Even though you don't like them.
Yeah, well, there we go.
That's funny. There's something in there with that. Okay. All right.
Philosophy.
Well, that's the rapid question, the rapid fire section. Yeah. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Any final words for everyone back home?
Watch Attack on Titan all the way through. Don't play Baldur's Gate 3. Give Baldur's Gate 3 a chance, at least. Even if you're not into turnstile games, give it a try. I promise you, I hated turnstile games. It is amazing. And a piece of advice, wisdom would be,
I'm stretching my back. Sorry, while you think.
A piece of let me be for real here. A piece of advice would be, be faithful, be approachable, and be teachable in everything you do.
Beautiful.
That's a lot to unpack, so that'll be it.
Beautifully well put. All right, thanks everyone for listening. Bye.